Herbways, the pathway to family wellness.
Shabbat Shalom. It's my pleasure to welcome you to another beautiful edition of Herbways under a segment called Herbs and Therapeutics, the only program on TV that is promoting the tenets of herbal and complementary medicine, which you people call natural medicine. What has happened over the week? There are quite a number of happenings. For starters, this week that is just running to its end, the Council of Physicians of Natural Medicine had their annual CPD, and it was well attended. Lectures were given on, what do we call therapeutics method, what we call ethics, professional ethics, and so many other things, and the latest happening in complementary and herbal medicine. But then something that is causing stir happened last week. It was all over the social media. People were getting apprehensive over the fact that the NAFDAC and some confirmed receipt of NIA alert on Chinese drugs allegedly containing human flesh. That's very serious. We are going to go into that. Today too, we are going to feature a particular herbs or fruit which you tend to neglect. That's what we promote on this program. We are trying to divert people's attention to the fact that we must use those herbs that are being grown in this country, which are very, very rich. They have high nutritional value and they are therapeutic. One of them, we are going to discuss it today. And maybe you have been walking past it for years. You don't know it is very, very good for your body. We are trying to discourage people from eating those imported stuff which may not do our body any good. Those ones that we are grown here, we are all moving around these our local foods. So why are we now neglecting it? We are now opting out for things that are alien to our system. So we are going to talk about one of them today. Perhaps you may be a fan of it after this program, or maybe you'll be even neglecting looking at it before. So those are the things we are going to be. Of course, after this segment, we'll go to show you another documentary, again, still on this issue of tuberculosis. We showed it last week, but due to popular demand, we are bringing it back so that some of us can see that maybe sometimes things we are looking for in Sokoto could be in our Sokoto pocket. The philosophy of this program is to promote our homegrown medicine, which has been found to be very effective, to be very potent, and some of them, they are even widely acclaimed. So why can't we promote it? That's what we've been doing on this program. So we are going to start with this issue of drugs that are made from human flesh. Federal government agencies, including SON, that's the Standard Organization of Nigeria, and NAFDAC, on Thursday confirmed receipt of the alert by the National Intelligence Agency over a Chinese drug made with human flesh and organs, which was discovered in South Korea. Very serious. Nigerian Tribune, which I pulled the stuff for, this is Nigerian Tribune. It's all over social media, so that some people will not think we are carrying fake news. This is the Tribune of yesterday. It's in the page there. That's where I'm reading from now, so that we can know how serious this issue is. Thousands of drugs. These drugs were first confiscated in 1202, but some people, some unscrupulous element, brought it in briefcase. And when they looked at it, they discovered that they will extract some flesh from fetus and infants. They will now desiccate it, put it on fire, turn it to ashes, then they will now capsulate it. What do we call that? That is cannibalism. And then let's thank NAFDAC. But the fear now is, I hope it is not going to escape and get into the country, and people will start using it, because our people, they love mysteries at times, and I don't know what you are going to gain when you start treating yourself with human flesh. That is cannibalism for all I care. So this one, and research has even shown that it could even lead to health challenges. So those of us who always use certain remedies or protocol simply because it comes from overseas, and then we'll be using it without double checking, and you turn our mouth into dustbin. throwing all sorts of things into it, it has consequences. So we have to be very, very careful. And at this juncture, it is still rhyme with the philosophy of this program. Let us look inwards. There are a lot of things in this country that can help us, rather than we tying ourselves to the apron of our colonial masters who still continue to dictate the pace. We are not saying it is bad to use all those medicines that are imported, but for crying out loud, let us use more of our own. Because since it has passed through NAFDAC or some other regulatory agencies, then we are free to use it. So we shouldn't have that belief that it is only things that are coming from outside the country that are good. Our own thing, they are not good. Like I usually say on this program, people always call whatever comes from the white man's country, they call it drugs. But they will call our own concussion. If you're giving it sorts of derogatory and clandestine names, which will not help us. This is a pointer to that effect, you know. So may God save us. So maybe if you want to use any of these drugs these days, there are certain things you look out for. Is it NAFDAC approved? Does it have all the necessary regulatory stamps on it before we start using it? So I'm going to leave that one there. So it was all over the social media. People are running scatter. Where are we going in this country? What's going to happen? And it's going to be one of the topics for today. I want you people at home, let's discuss this. Is this a good practice? For how long shall we continue to depend on these people to be sending drugs to us, which may not help us? I have said it on this program. The Chinese don't have malaria fever, and they are sending malaria drugs to us. How do you see to that? You know, they can help us with technology, right? But for them to now be manufacturing the drugs and send it to us, and where do they get their raw materials? Some of them pick those raw materials from here. Are we saying we don't have drug manufacturing companies that can also manufacture drugs? You know, so that's food for thought. That's what should be our topic when we come back in the second segment. Now, let's talk about the fruit of the day. Many of us might have seen this fruit. I don't know if you know it. Look at it. It is called tiger nut. I think Yoruba, they call it ofio. I don't know what you call it in your language. Look at it. That is tiger nut. Do you know it is very, very rich? It is very edible. Look at it. Sweet tasting. But do you know that this fruit is even a tuber? It's not a fruit per se, it's a tuber. But it has stayed so long in the soil, so it has a very hard cover. So that when you want to eat it, you now soak it in water. People have been able to formulate all sorts of elixirs from this. I don't know. Some people will say when you grind it and you blend some other things with it, when you drink it, it has this aphrodisiac properties. In other words, which we call manpower properties. Me, I don't know about that. But I know a lot of people do take it. And but I know that it's very, very nourishing. Now, let's look at the health benefit of tiger nut. So that when you see somebody selling this thing, you will not just think the man is carrying a bunch of garbage around. It is very nutritious. We always say when you eat stuff like this, it's better than patronizing this fast food, which we call junk food in medicine, because they won't do your body any good, except to add calories to you. When you eat such things, you'll now be looking for money to slim down again. So, what is the benefit of doing that? Because these things, they don't have high calorie and they're very nutritious. So, let us look at the benefits you can derive from this. So, now, they say tiger nuts are a healthful snack, okay? And it has a bit of per ounce. This is what it contains. It has 10 grams of dietary fiber, 7 grams of fat, 2 grams of protein, and 250 milligrams of potassium at only 120 calories per serving. Tiger nut also contains 10% of iron, 7% of magnesium. This same tiger nut. Tiger nut are excellent source of prebiotic fiber. It's not probiotic or prebiotic, you know. Prebiotic in the sense that this thing can actually help the bacteria in our body to be able to discharge their activities very well. That's why they call them prebiotics. They are not probiotics. They are also rich in fatty acid and antioxidant. They also have strong antibacterial properties. So because it contains flavonoids, tannins, phenolics, alkaloids, and so on and so forth. The tiger nuts are a great option for people with food allergies because tiger nuts provide the nutritional qualities they can be safely consumed by those with tree nut and pigeon nut allergies. It can be served as flour, butter, tiger nut on ice cream, and the rest of them. So this is tiger nut. After this program, Why don't you do yourself a favor? Buy some of this tiger nut. This one has been soaked in water since yesterday. And if you see the taste, very, very nourishing. So that's tiger nuts for you. So these are the things, when you see it, probably our Arewa brothers, we call them Abuki. They are the ones selling it. Maybe because of that, we have this belief that nothing ever good can come from that source. We are making a lot of mistakes. They are the ones selling salad. They are the ones selling garbages. They are the ones selling all those things that will enrich our bodies. So tiger nut is one of them. It is cheap. Maybe because it is very cheap, that's what we call in economics, they say snubbing effect. But because it is cheap, people think it is meant for the lowly ones, the poverty-striking ones. But that's not the case. It is what everybody should consume because all of us want to enjoy good life.
I welcome you to this presentation on non-communicable diseases. We decided to go into this area of research in the last 35 years because of the enormosity of the burden of the illnesses. Communicable disease, we defined it before as diseases of hepatitis, HIV/AIDS, and tuberculosis, which everybody knows is devastating the entire world. The disease burden of the world is due to these three and to the non-communicable diseases. What are the non-communicable diseases? They are diseases of high blood pressure, exemplified by high cholesterol, high triglycerides, chronic kidney diseases, diabetes, cancer, stroke, asthma, ulcer, and arthritis. That is the gamut of diseases popularly referred to as non-communicable disease. And according to 2008, WHO did a survey and found out that 57 million people died in the entire world. 36 million of that is due to non-communicable disease. If you take the percentage, that is over 64% of the cause of death in the world is the 10 different ailments I mentioned under non-communicable diseases. And presently, chemicals are being used to manage these ailments. And these chemicals also cause their own diseases as part of side effects. But from our research, we found out that our basic food materials can alleviate most of these ailments, to the extent that we now have protocols developed that have been able to take care of this. I want to center our presentation today on one of the communicable diseases, tuberculosis, which the World Health Organization, the United Nations have just deliberated it and have tagged it as a global, causes global deaths. That is tuberculosis. We have developed very simple protocols. We have two types of tuberculosis. And Nigeria is like number one in Africa in terms of burden of tuberculosis. About number 7th in the world in terms of tuberculosis, with India, Bangladesh, and so on. But the good news here today is that we've been able to discover protocols that can manage both the simple tuberculosis and for a shorter period. And we have also developed protocols that can also manage the resistant tuberculosis. But because most countries of the world get these things free as donor, they are not interested in their local solutions. We beg and we call on this government that the protocols we have can be taken from us and can be tested in any lab anywhere in the world. These are the array of what we use in making them. This is water leaf in its fresh form, and this is water leaf powder in its dry form. This is a very hot spice, alligator pepper, in its powdery form. And here we have honey, and then the sugarcane extract we couldn't have now. But with this array of combinations, we've been able to do protocols. And the greatest problem with tuberculosis is this continuous cough that is more than 2 weeks. In fact, you should suspect tuberculosis. WHO that went through the 7 continents of the world and discovered that over 85% of the world population depend on their folklore medicines. Instead of using the chemical we are using now, we can use this particular one.
I think what we saw, these are one of the things that made WAP TV your number one TV station, because whatever we want to do in this station, we are very thorough with it. These are result of researches done. You can see how plants and foodstuffs are, grinded and desiccated. Look at it. And these are been subjected to research. They've passed through the relevant regulatory authorities. They are capsulated and all these things. These are the kind of things we are seeing. Subject all these things to other researches. Take them to any part of the world. So that is what we are seeing. It's not applicable to this. There are a couple of drugs that are natural drugs too that are produced in this country that, where we need to really call government attention to, because everything starts and ends at the table of the government.
Herbways, the pathway to family wellness.